I think I'm live. Hi everyone. I'm just going to check on my phone as well. Okay, yes, here I am. Hi everyone, good evening. Oh, Ruggero, you're the first. Good evening to you. How are you doing? I can see other people are here as well. And I can see my camera always irritates me. It always looks a little bit tilted to me. Mauro Francesconi, Vincenzo. Hi everyone, how are you doing? How was your day? Are you glad it's Friday? I'm very happy it's Friday. Oh my God, I've had such a busy day. And when I'm done after this lesson, I have the pleasure of having to tidy up a very messy flat. This is why I'm sitting like strategically against a wall today, so you can't see all the mess. Well, actually, this room is quite tidy. It's the rest of the flat that isn't. So today we'll talk about pronunciation. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. It's just gone 9 o'clock. Hello, my love, Roberto. Oh my God, I had a nightmare tonight that involved Roberto, a teacher nightmare. So I dreamt, I had a nightmare. I dreamt that Roberto, who, as you know, is my partner, because I never have time to like kind of dedicate like special English lessons to Roberto. So I dreamt that he took another teacher. So like that's a nightmare of a teacher. So then I called him this morning and I said, do you have another teacher? Like, you know how women say, do you have another woman? I said, do you have another teacher? And then he pulled my leg and said, yeah, I've got this other teacher. I'm going to speak to her at 10 o'clock and she's going to do me this great course. And then I nearly like broke up with him. And then he told me that he was just joking. So our relationship is safe because he hasn't got another teacher. How dare he? Okay, guys, so we've got Roberta as well. Hi, Roberta. And hi, Tiziano. Now, what did I remember earlier? Oh yeah, and you know, Tiziano, the question you asked me yesterday about do you? Yeah, I say do you like? But I think you're right. I think some people might say do you like more like an sound or like an e sound. It may be like, you know, because they pronounce it more like a schwa sound, which is like and then they say it quickly. It might sound like do you? So it could be. So I don't think you're imagining it. So it depends because, you know, like accents are also something that's very personal. I may pronounce something in a specific way, in one way, and then another person may pronounce it in a different way. And it's not like regional differences, sometimes it's personal differences. So I was reflecting on it today and I thought, actually, there are some people who do say do you instead of like do you. Definitely. So you were right to ask that question. Lisa, baby, how are you doing? Are you well today? Nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna chill for 5 minutes. No, I'm going to start. Hi, Daniela, how are you doing? This is the first Daniela Montanini, and then usually Daniela Viola joins us as well. And let's see if Stefania makes it today, because Stefania sometimes has problems, or she's had problems so far with the live chat, but yesterday she made it last minute. So let's see if she makes it today at the start of the lesson. And as always, I'll just do a quick mic check. And hi, Elisa as well. Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely, Tiziano, definitely do you, like when the O sound nearly disappears, that definitely happens because like we said yesterday, some words are simply not stressed and like the sounds just disappear. So you just say like, do you, so it merges all into one. But I thought what you were talking about yesterday was like the kind of slight sound, do you? It might be because like if it turns into a schwa, which is like an then I can see why it would turn into like a small, like a slight sound. Okay, now let's get started because today we're going, so I thought as yesterday you liked the lesson about pronunciation, I thought, well, let's not lose momentum and let's talk about pronunciation in even more detail. And I'm going to give you a chart that, oh my God, it's going to really change your life, I think, okay? Maybe that's a big claim. You'll tell me if it's going to change the way you view pronunciation from now on. So The chart is called the phonemic chart, and now like they've changed it and they call it the pronunciation chart because it's just easier. Because phonemic, you have to be into linguistics to know what like phonemes are, but pronunciation, everyone understands pronunciation. Anyway, let's just look at some definitions at what we'll actually be talking about today. Phonemic, pronounced in this way, and I've put these transcriptions here like not by chance. There is a reason why I've put them. Phonemic is an adjective and it's something that's relating to phonemes, okay? And phonemes, these are all from the Cambridge Dictionary, one of the smallest units of speech that make one word different from another word. And then they give you, as an example, the word pin and pan. So like, you know, the meaning of the word changes depending on that vowel sound. Pin, pan. But I dare say even things like, you know, like what we said yesterday, sheet. And if you say like the shorter vowel of that, it changes. Okay, so that's phonemic. And then these things that you see, these kind of like pronunciation transcriptions, this is what we call the phonetic transcriptions. And phonetics, like when you use, where is it here? Special signs to represent different sounds that we make in speech, okay? So for example, when you look a word up in a dictionary, you will find these transcriptions. And once you learn how to pronounce these little symbols, these transcriptions really make a huge difference to understanding to how you will produce these sounds. Because as you know, I'll just show you something. Of course, we could just go into a dictionary and I can just type in a word like, I don't know, sand, okay? I can type in this word, then I can of course click on this and I can hear the pronunciation. But this doesn't tell me how I make the sound. All this tells me is how it sounds. But, you know, yesterday I said the older we get, the more difficult it gets to learn an accent or to change our accents. And the reason why that is because our brain, if we haven't learned a language from a young age, there are some sounds, if we're not used to them, our brain kind of doesn't hear them, as if our brain simply blocked them. So if you can't hear properly how a sound is produced, how can you emulate it? How can you make the sound? You can if you learn how to read these symbols and what you need to make with your mouth and your tongue and your jaw when you see these symbols. So, and this is where the pronunciation chart comes in. I'm going to pause a second just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that you haven't got any questions. Hi Gabriella, how are you doing? Now, Daniela is saying, what a terrible nightmare. You know what was really bad? I nearly started a fight over this. Like when Roberto started saying, oh yeah, I've called my teacher in England and now like because you never have time for me, she's going to give me lessons. I felt like he was cheating on me. And then like we've never had a fight, Roberto and I. So this was going to be my first fight with him because I thought he took another English teacher. There you go. Because I'm too busy teaching on social media instead of like teaching my partner. So he was going to punish me by like pulling my leg. Anyway, guys, so let's now look at the chart. And let's look at one specific part of the chart. So this is one of the charts that Mr. Adrian Underhill, a genius, has produced. This is the UK chart. There is an American version. So I'll be focusing on the UK chart, and specifically we'll be focusing on this area, okay? On the first 4x3. This is what we'll be focusing on. Once you know this area, you know the area on the right as well. We'll talk about that. The consonant sounds are below. We'll leave these aside because I think the most difficult sounds for any learners of English are usually the vowel sounds, and they're the ones that you find on the top left and the top right, okay? Right, now what happens with this chart? So this chart tells you, and this is why it's so useful, it tells you when you see these symbols in like the dictionary, you see a word and you see the phonetic transcription of that word, this is how you produce this sound. And now you have to imagine that this area here, okay? I don't know if I can highlight it, no, because it's an image. Never mind. So this area here is our mouth, okay? And on the top, where is it? Here. On the top, I need to kind of use a, what can I use? Oh, hold on, maybe I can use like an X or something. Okay, maybe I can use like this. Okay, so we're now talking about this, okay? This symbol. So when you start here, what's happening here is your mouth, so with the first sound, your mouth is pulled, okay, like this, and it's closed, okay? So it's not open. So you pull and your tongue is near the front. And then you do this and you produce the sound. And when you see behind any sound, this is in the UK system, 2 dots, this means this sound is long, okay? So this sound is, if I do this, E, okay? So I pull my mouth and I go E, and my tongue is right at the front. Then what happens is, as you move more to the right, your mouth goes from this to this. But this position on each row, this position stays the same. It doesn't change. So your jaw is in this position on the first row. It doesn't change. In the second sound, your mouth goes from here to relaxed, and this sound does not have the double dots. So this sound is short, and it's E, like that, E. So relaxed, E, okay? With the third sound, and I'll show you some words, and it will make more sense, so bear with me for just 2 more sounds. With the third sound, your mouth goes from being relaxed to being slightly like this, okay? Like this, but your jaw is still in the same position, and you do ooh, like this, ooh. Okay, and this sound as well, because it doesn't have the double dots, is a short sound. The next sound from here, I really kind of like do this to my mouth, bring it together, ooh, because this is a long sound. You can see it with the double dots. And just to say, in the American dictionaries, they don't tend to use the double dots. Okay, in the British version of dictionaries, or the British pronunciation is always given with the double dots. The American pronunciation is not always given with the double dots for the long sound, okay? So this last sound is ooh, okay? And now we'll look at some words and it will make more sense. I'm just going to stop and see, oh, Stefania, you're here. Thank God for that, you made it. Okay, so let's look at some words and this will make more sense. Okay, so I've just written, hold on, maybe I can bring this up. I just want to see if you can see all of my screen. Okay, you should be able to see everything. Otherwise, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit like that. Okay, so as you see, we've got 3 rows here and 4 columns. And I've got 3 rows here and 4 columns. So each row, okay, so this row, these are the corresponding words. So the first sound we said, just to recap, we said it's a long sound, okay, and it's a sound I produce by pulling my lips and keeping my jaw in this position. And it's E, like in eat, okay, need, delete. All of these sounds are long sounds. And if you look them up in the dictionary, you will find this sound, and the middle syllable here represented by the E sound. And then I know that this is a long sound. So this is how I can distinguish between it and eat, because eat is long, okay, whereas it isn't. So then the next sound, this one here, this is the I sound, so this is the shorter one. This one I find in words such as sit, like I said earlier, also in it, sit, forbid, I'm talking about the second syllable, forbid, and hidden, the first syllable, hidden, okay? So relaxed mouth and not stretch or anything, jaw up, hidden, okay? I'm just going to check. Okay, exactly like that, Daniela. Ship, and sheep, okay? So this is sheep, it's a long sound, pecore or pecora, ship, barca, ship. So it's short, okay? And this is one of the main challenges for pupils, like these difference. The difference between beach and bitch. I mean, I can say that because it's a female dog. Like, it's only become a a negative word for females in slang, but traditionally it means a female dog. Okay, then this sound is we said it's the O sound, and this sound I find in words such as put, should, and foot. So you see, like, different vowels. Here we have the U, we've got the OU, and we've got the double O, and here, like, we've got the silent L as well, and they all have the same sound. Put, should, foot. Okay? Good. The next one, this one here we said is a long sound. And then my lips are really like that. Ooh, okay? And this is in words such as blue, boot, and too. Me too. I have some boots and they are blue. Okay, so they're all like the same sound. Okay, what happens next? So also, as I said, at the beginning, your tongue is near the front, and then with every sound, it kind of gets naturally pulled a little bit back. But these things happen naturally. Okay, the next sound down, so then you go down one row, and when you go down that one row, everything that I just said repeats itself. So you go from I to relaxed, to slightly like that, to very much like that. But what happens as you go down one row is your mouth opens a little bit more. This is the only difference. Your mouth, you go down one row and you open your mouth slightly. Okay, so this sound, for example, so to go back to Tiziano's question yesterday, he asked about the sound, and we'll talk about it when we get to the one below it, because then it really kind of explains the difference between these two sounds. This sound is okay, like this, okay, so I've got my mouth not relaxed, so it's slightly kind of open, but it's not too open, and this is a sound that I find in words such as get, bed, and men. Okay, they all have the same vowel sound. And then with the next sound, this is the schwa sound that we've talked about. It's the kind of the E that is upside down. This is the schwa, and for the schwa, I relax everything, I open my mouth slightly, and I go, It's like, oh, I'm surprised, or whatever, like, you know, I'm just, I don't know, like, I don't know what to say. You know, I'm clueless. Just like that. And the schwa is, like we said yesterday, all of the vowels can be transformed potentially into a schwa sound when, for example, we kind of don't want to emphasize certain words. It's always a weak sound, it's always not stressed, and above all, like words such as a, so as the indefinite article, is very often pronounced as We rarely pronounce it as a unless we want to emphasize it. T instead of to, okay, to. I'm going to school, I'm going to the supermarket. And in British English, the ER ending, the ER ending is a schwa sound. So computer, okay, mother, butter, future. So even like, you know, when you have the RE like that, that becomes a schwa sound as well, future. Okay, so that's the schwa sound. The next sound next to it, this one here, this is the sound that you find in words such as girl, because what happens here, I go from this to this, and this is a long sound, So you have it in words such as girl, world, hurt. So all of these are long vowel sounds, and they're all like that, okay? And I'm just going to check. Okay, just quickly to answer your questions. Sit is pronounced, yeah, as the short Daniela. So sit is this sound here. this one here, okay? And you can always check it by going into the dictionary. So whenever like you're not sure, you go into the dictionary. I need to share my screen with you, otherwise you can't see my browser. Okay. Oh, why does it do that? Oh, it's just doing Italian. Hold on, my dictionary has just gone crazy. It's giving me Italian instead of English. Okay, so I'm just going to share my browser with you. Can you see my browser? I think you should be able to see it. So I typed in sit, and it gives you this symbol, okay? And in this case, it so happens that it's the same in American English. I mean, you know, not everything in American English is different, but sometimes it will give you like a different transcription for the American pronunciation, which basically means it's a different vowel sound. Mainly it's vowels that are pronounced differently. Sometimes the emphasis on certain syllables may be different. Okay, so I think no other questions. So let's go back to our document. All right, so girl. So we said this is like girl, and then the one next to it's like I do this even more, and I'm like or, okay? And this is like something we find in taught, bought, law. So this is really important. Like this is a very important sound, this sound here, because very often English learners confuse the sound. Instead of law, they say low, but low is a diphthong. So these sounds here, these are the diphthongs, and diphthongs are made of two sounds, okay? So it's for example, law would be low, maybe this one low, could be this one here, for example, okay? This is a diphthong sound, whereas these sounds, they're made of single sounds. This is when my tongue position doesn't change to produce the sound, and these are the monophthongs, okay? So now we're talking about the monophthongs, but once you've learned them, then you can also produce the diphthongs, and the diphthongs are sounds like low, this is a diphthong, and also bought. So bought is the past tense of buy. Some people, like especially children, will say to me boat. But boat is a diphthong. It's made out of two vowel sounds, so it's a very, very different sound. It's a sound that I find on this side, on the right side of the chart. Okay, then with the last one, going down, and this is a very difficult sound, I think. This sound, again, I've got my mouth stretched, so again, nothing happens that's different from what we've seen above. Mouth is stretched, then it goes to a natural position, then it goes like that, then it goes very much like that. The only difference is that here, so in the first position, first row, I had the mouth like this, then my jaw dropped a little bit, and now it drops more. Okay? So this is an open sound, like this, and this is a sound that I find, for example, in sand, okay, sand, in man, okay, man, anger, okay, so all of these words have the same sound. So this is why I said we go back to Tiziano's question from yesterday, because he asked about the difference about men, which we saw was the sound above it, so it's men, and man, which is more, my jaw is more dropped, okay? So men and man. Bed and bad, okay? So again, it's like, you know, my mouth is much more open because my jaw is more dropped. So I hope that kind of clarifies it further. Then the next one up, again, we said the mouth is in a neutral position, but my jaw is dropped, so this sound is okay? As in run or up or butter. So this is a sound where the mouth is neutral, but the jaw is dropped. This is how I produce it. The next one is like this, father, okay, father, asked, so in British English we say asked, not asked, okay, and past, castle, so all of this like a long sound, and my jaw is very open. And last but not least for the monophthongs is this sound, which is o, lost, yacht, not, okay? Even like this word, not, is the same sound as that. Okay, so this is, ladies and gentlemen, the phonemic chart, the pronunciation chart. And then, like I said, once you kind of like get to grips with the monophthongs, then what happens with the diphthongs, so with this side here is, okay, now we've learned that this sound, this one here is E, and now I've got this E and this one, which is the schwa sound, that I know that I have to go from E to the schwa sound, and I do it as like one journey, and I go like ear. So for example, the word ear, okay, will be transcribed like this, ear. Shall we check if it's transcribed like this? I'm thinking this is how it's going to be transcribed. Let's check it. Go to here. Let's check the word ear and see how it's transcribed. Okay, ta-da! And this is where it is, ear. This is the British pronunciation. You see the R is kind of like put up, is it like superscript or whatever it's called? Whereas here in the American pronunciation, because they do pronounce the R at the end of words, it's a different sound. It's ear, so it's very different. This is ear. So I go like from the E sound to the schwa sound in one journey, ear. So I have to change the pronunciation of the vowel, the kind of the position of my tongue to produce this sound. Okay, I'm just going to check very quickly. Okay, pronunciation of water. Giuseppe is asking, what's the right pronunciation of water? Well, it depends who you ask. Standard British is water, so it's water. Can you hear the sound? Can you predict which one it is? It's this one here. It's the one that looks like an O with two dots. Okay, this one here. This is the transcription. Okay, water. So it's this one. It's the last one on the second row. This is water. It's a long sound. If you look at the American transcription, it's a different sound. It's water, okay? And they don't pronounce the T like a T. It becomes like halfway between a D and an R. Okay, it's water. I can't say it. Okay, but you see it changes, like even the transcription of the vowel changes. It changes to this one here. If you ask a Londoner might say something like water. So that, you know, like the O is like water. It's the T mainly that changes. Okay, they drop the T. So it depends who you ask, but in standard British, it's water. Water, it's a long sound. Okay, a few more comments. Let's see. I noticed that you pronounce the article a kind of a in Italian, but I'd like to say, oh, hold on. I noticed that you pronounce the article a kind of a in Italian. Well, I mostly, like when I speak, like I'm saying it in a phrase, I just say and I will only say a, sometimes like if I've stopped mid-speech, I say, I bought a cake, so then like, you know, because your speech is not flowing, then you say a. But I would like you to say the word World War, World War, World War. They're different vowel sounds. You want to check them. Hold on, can you see? World. Okay, world, we said, is the kind of O with the two dots. World. War is the other one. This one here, like that. World War. So they're like two different vowel sounds. Okay, let's check Mauro. Except from the phonetic transcription, are there some common rules to use to how to know to pronounce the words? For example, a letter followed or preceded by another one is pronounced as. There's so many exceptions in the English language, Mauro. Like sometimes you have the same letters kind of preceded or succeeded by certain letters, and then, you know, one letter changes and the pronunciation changes. I mean, you know, the best example I can give you, if we go back to my Word document, is, for example, the letters O-U-G, okay? So, if I write it like this, it's tough, okay? The GH becomes tough. If I add an H, it becomes though. If I add an R, it becomes through. If I write it like this with a T at the end, it becomes thought. So you see, like, you know, you have nearly the same letters with one difference, and then things change. Then there are, of course, some rules, like, for example, lit, okay? If I add an E at the end, then I know that I can pronounce this as light, and this is an informal spelling for light, okay? So there are some rules where, you know, like you have, for example, I don't know, cat, for example, or cut, and then I add the E, and it becomes cute. So when you add the E to certain letters at the end of the word, then the previous syllable, the vowel, turns into the name of the letter itself, okay? So there are rules like that, but very often with pronunciation, also because, like, you know, what we said yesterday about sometimes there's a difference between American and English. So, for example, can't remember who asked me yesterday about privacy. So the British pronunciation of this word is privacy, but then there are people who say privacy. I mean, they've started saying privacy just like I say privacy, because it's like an Americanism that's crept into the language, but it's the same word written in exactly the same way. In one version of English, it's pronounced like this, is pronounced as like a long sound, and in the other one it's pronounced as a short sound, okay? So it's really kind of English, like sometimes, yes, there are rules, but very often it's like learning by listening and by kind of, you know, just using the language and listening a lot and making mental notes about what you hear. Okay, let's see. Daniela, I often heard dropping the T, especially between young people. Yes, I mean, it's not really considered very cultured. Traditionally, like, you know, the London accent, there's always, like I mentioned, kind of prejudices yesterday and kind of like social conceptions about certain dialects and accents, and like the London accent is always kind of like associated with people who are like low cultured, etc. But what's been happening recently is like it's kind of crept into the mainstream as well. So there's now, it's nearly fashionable, and politicians even have started doing it. It's like drop the T, not too much, but like slightly. And that's kind of like now become a little bit more accepted. So it depends on like how far you push it. If you say water, that sounds really like very kind of London Cockney accent. But if you say like water, like, you know, you say it like, I don't know, if it's like in the context and you say it quickly and it's not like as exaggerated, then that has become slightly more acceptable. But the standard like pronunciation is with the sound t. Okay, down and done. So down, down. Can you hear what happens here? Down. This is another diphthong. So again, like if you look, hold on. If you look at the dictionary, just want to show you how you can use that. So you use down, and it will give you the diphthong transcription for that. So you can see that, okay? So this is down, okay? This is down. And then if you look at done, then you will see that it's a different monophthong sound. So it's done, like that. So then if you go back to our chart, and this is why I say the chart is really just so helpful, then you go back to it, and it tells you that done is with this sound, okay? And down, hold on. Down, I can't remember if down could have been this one, right? Down, if I remember correctly, it was this one. Down, I mean, it makes sense because this sound is, where is it? Probably that sound here, down, is that sound here, down is this one here. Okay, so this is where, like, once you've mastered this sounds, then when you hear diphthong, so you can hear it down, it changes, just like low changes. It's not the same sound as low. And bought and boat, boat, this is like two sounds, boat. Okay, Daniela, yes, it's not standard English, definitely. How do you pronounce pear? Pear, okay, pear. Can you guess which sound it is? Pear. Pear. Shall we check? Let's check. Pear. What do you think? Like, hold on, before we go back, let's look. So we said this is like, whoa, hold on. This is like bed. This is like sand. This is the schwa. So out of these, and this is girl, okay? And this is world. So where do you think pear fits in? Let's check it, okay? So let's go to the browser and let's go and put in pear. And now let's see what comes up. Pear, okay. So it has the sound as in bed, pear, but because you've got like the R, like the AR at the end, that turns into schwa sound, just like I said earlier, even future and computers, it's not always just like the ER, but it could be like any kind of R sound at the end. You have the schwa sound, so this is why it turns into a diphthong. Pear, pear, okay? So I don't know if you could pick up on that. But this definitely, like, even if you can't really hear it, you go to the dictionary and you look it up, you look up the transcription and you see this sound is the like in bed, okay? And then we know that this is the schwa, so I know that I have to make the transition from to pear, okay? Pear. I mean, it's more natural, like pear, yeah? I don't know if that helps. Just checking. Okay, let's do it together, Stefania. Bed and bad, okay? So this is what we said earlier here. This is a question that Tiziano had asked yesterday as well. So this sound here, we said my mouth is stretched and my jaw is slightly down. Bed, bed, okay? Whereas with this sound, my mouth goes really open, like my jaw drops, but it's still like this. So it's bad, bad, okay? So it's a different sound. Bad, bed, bad, bed, okay? Like, I don't know if you can even notice that, like, my jaw is changing position, because it just becomes natural. But I think like these jaw movements and mouth movements, they're really important at first when you're like training yourself to like pronounce certain sounds, and then after a while they just become more natural and you don't pay attention to whether you're really pulling your mouth or whether you're really, like, you know, dropping your jaw, etc. It just becomes more natural, because you know, when you see this symbol, you know that this is an a sound, and it's not, it's like, you know, what we said yesterday as well about apple, and, like, you know, non-native speakers hearing the American pronunciation and hearing something like apple, okay, and then going and saying apple, which is this sound, apple. And another, like, classic, really classic kind of mispronunciation is where in American English, Mary, and marry kind of tend to have the same sound, maybe because, you know, again, like how the A has evolved. But in British English, these are three very distinct sounds. This is Mary, Mary is Mary, okay, like bed, Mary, okay, Mary, and she's going to marry, okay. So this is like the a as in sand, as in man, etc. So I don't know if you can hear this. Mary is Mary, and she's going to marry. Whereas, like, very often, like someone who's learning American English may, and even like some Americans, they will say Mary, Mary, Mary to all of them. And that's like in British English, that wouldn't be correct, because this one specifically is marry, this one is Mary, and this one is Mary. Okay, I don't know if that's helped. Okay. So Tiziano, l'alba, dawn, dawn. Okay. Do you mean this word? Not, that's down. Dawn, dawn. Can you guess? Dawn. I would say it's this one here. Dawn. Shall we check? Let's check together. Let's check. In the dictionary, let me see. It would be funny now if I got it wrong. Dawn, at the break of dawn. Ta-da! I did get it right. But you see, in American English, it's dawn. Oh my God, you're such a bad American accent. But this is dawn. So, you see what I mean? It's like after a while, when you become accustomed to these kind of sounds, then you can really kind of like imagine what the sound actually looks like. And this is what we had said the sound looked like. It's this sound here. So this is my mouth, like my jaw slightly dropped, dawn. Okay? This is what it is. Okay. Tiziano, a merry Mary is going to marry. Yeah. So you see, a merry Mary, a merry Mary is going to marry. A merry Mary is going to marry. And not like a merry Mary is going to marry. Okay, I think, guys, we'll call it a day. It's 20 to 10. And I still have a flat to clean. How did you find this? How was it? Was it really painful? Do you think it's going to help you with your pronunciation? And I haven't typed anything today except at the beginning. So that's good. But yeah, I'll just hang around for a couple of minutes to see if you have any other questions or clarifications, or whether we'll just say good night and good weekend, because I'm not here this weekend, as you know. Well, I am here, but we're not going to have a lesson this weekend, as I have promised my 6-year-old daughter, who did tell me that I did have a choice and I could just cancel. I mean, how do kids learn to speak like this? She told me, like in Italian, I told her, ma sai che la mamma deve dare una lezione? Mi ha detto, ma la puoi anche annullare. She's 6. I thought, okay, I'll do. I'll just delete, I'll just cancel it. So, okay, so let's see. Very interesting, brilliant, very good. I'm happy you found it helpful. Daniela, thank you. It's been very helpful. So, it's difficult, Ruggero. It does seem difficult because it's like code. But just remember, it's really easy. You have 3 rows, 4 kind of, like little boxes, 4 columns. And you start off with I, you relax, you do this, and you do this. You drop 1 row, you open your jaw a little bit. It's like your mouth kind of mirrors what's happening. You drop, and you do the same movements. And then you drop 1 row, and you do the same thing. And actually, like this word that I'm just talking about now, this is like a real kind of example why it's so important to get this right. So I just said row. Okay, row is, okay, row. This can also be pronounced as row, which means an argument. And then you also have this word, which is raw. And it means uncooked, or it means something like that's a little bit harsh, okay? So if you go into the dictionary, you will see them transcribed in different ways, and then you will know the difference in pronunciation between row and row and raw, because they all have different meanings, and the only thing that changes is the vowel sound, okay? Okay, great. So Stefania's just laughing about my daughter. Yes, I couldn't believe it. Like, they come out with stuff. Okay, see you on Monday, guys. I'm glad you liked it, Gabriela, as well. Have a great weekend. And Roberta is saying very, very helpful to avoid mix and forget the American accent. You know, I think like some learners find American much easier. British is definitely, I think, like harder to understand. It like really hits you when you first go to the UK because maybe you're not exposed to it as much. or the version of English that people are exposed to, like the version of British English that you hear, is so different from how people speak kind of on the ground that initially it just like seems so different. But I do think very often that the British pronunciation is more kind of truthful to the real sounds of those letters compared to the American accent. For example, the A sound is like, you know, the American A is just so far removed from, like, you know, the Italian A or like the French kind of pronunciation of the same letter, or the German. So I do think that's easier. The T sound, the T sound in English, even though it's lighter than it's Italian. So when I speak Italian, I speak it with an English T, I know that. But again, like that's more natural than the halfway DR sound that's produced in American English, like butter. Like, how did that come about? And like I said, even I can't do it. Okay, guys, stay safe too. Antonino, I haven't seen you. Like, it's the first time I've seen a comment from you this evening. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson, and take care, everyone. And I will see you on Monday. Have fun, and I will try to read all of your comments about like the you know, like what topics to do lessons on, etc. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining. Take care. Bye bye.